very important words heading into today's race. Who will make playoffs? It is our playoff determining race. The last race of the regular season, race number 13 from Hillside for Season 5 of the Pizza Hut X Series. 12 drivers, when the checkered flag waves the completion of this 40-lap event, will be embarking on a 7-race battle to become the champion of the Pizza Hut X Series. We've got the opportunity for one driver to become a 2-time Pizza Hut X Series champion, but the odds will obviously not be very great in his favor. And of course, we're talking about a Daytona winner, J Gilbert. Right now, coming into this race, your playoff grid would be as follows: Phil Parker, Austin LaPlante, Diego Yepez, Z Flickinger, Quentin Moore, who won last week at Champs-Élysées, K Batson, N Guenther, Eli Bright, Patrick Curtis, J Gilbert, J Garcia, and Rob Evans. 12 races so far, 12 different race winners. If we have a 13th go to victory lane here today, we could have one of our former winners from this season not being able to partake in the playoffs. So the drivers right now, I think, that are in the most critical position in the point standings as far as our former winners would be J Garcia and Rob Evans. We'll keep an eye on those two rookies during the course of this race, as we'll watch and see if any drivers that haven't yet gone to victory lane run up near the front of the field. We saw yesterday in the Coors Light Truck Series race, it was a race of fuel strategy. Although the driver that came to pit road as the leader was able to leave pit road as the leader and the eventual winner, that being, of course, Colin Lindsay. Here today, again, we know for a fact at the end of this 40 laps, these drivers will have to make at least one pit stop, whether it be under our first caution of the weekend or under green flag conditions like we had in the Truck Series race here yesterday. So what's going to happen? We're going to have to see. And what drivers here that need a win as a last-ditch opportunity to get into the playoffs might roll the dice on fuel strategy to try and pick up that eluded victory. On the pole position for this race is Austin LaPlante. It's been a spirited battle between Phil Parker and Austin LaPlante coming into this race for that points lead. Parker's had the advantage. Let's get the command real quick.
Drivers, start your engine!
Command's given. Parker's had the advantage. He's been a lot more consistent, had a much better run than LaPlante last week at Champs-Élysées. He's grown his points lead by 45 points. But why does Austin LaPlante want to go to victory lane again? Because right now, we have had no driver go to victory lane more than once. If LaPlante were to take the checkered flag here today, he would not only have himself locked into the playoffs, but he'd head into Las Vegas, our first playoff race, in the number 1 seed. So that is very important for all of our former winners this season. They want to have a bit of a points advantage over everybody else heading into round 1 of the playoffs. Here we go then. Are you ready? Who's going to be in the playoffs? Who's not going to be in the playoffs? We're going to find out. Green flags racing here at Hillside. Let's roll. Hillside is a mile in length, and so too is Dover, where LaPlante went to victory lane as J Shelly's going to move by for the top position. J Shelly comes into this race 30th in the point standings. He is about 21 points actually behind Rob Evans in the points. So if he goes to victory lane, he's got to make up a lot of ground on the 88 as well. N Guenther, our winner from Phoenix there, is now up to second, and here comes the defending Hershey's Cup Series champion, B Allan, trying to make it into the playoffs here, following up her championship in the top tier series. B Allan comes into this race 15th in points, so if she goes to victory lane, no doubt she'd make it into the playoffs automatically. A Rowe right there in 4th, another driver that if he won, he'd automatically be in the playoffs. He's 7th in the standings coming into this race. Guenther going to take a look to the inside on Shelly, tries to get the left rear quarter panel, can't quite do it. Let's document the drivers that we should watch for in this race that with a win, they would automatically leapfrog someone like Rob Evans or J Garcia to get into the playoffs. They would include the following: Daniel Olson, Mason Wood, A Rowe, Cole Deaver, Andrew Davis, Jake Rogers, B Allan, Alex Gray, Charles Jackson, A Navarro, Joshua Hyatt, also G Sydnor, J Ericsson, and then there's a couple of drivers that are kind of question marks. but they could if they made up enough points with a victory, including Andrew Gonzalez, Sky Commons, Heather Gallant, Nathan Hudson, James Shelly, J Jefferson, and Kyle Langeland. They have a mathematical shot, but they have to go to victory lane here today. Right now, Shelly is doing just that, showing the way, and with the lap that he led, and if he can stay out in front and get a bonus point for leading the most laps, that could certainly help out his cause. As little contact there, Nick Guenther tried to get to the inside, had to lift, and that's going to cost him. You see there, the two teammates out of Smart Motorsports going to go to his inside. Rowe in the 69, Yepez, our winner from Charlotte, into the third position now. And you got Chloe Ericsson there in the 46. What a struggling year it's been for her. Ericsson coming into this race in the, if I can even find the name. Ericsson is 24th in the standings. Had an even worse season last year. We got a battle for the lead. Alexander Rowe looking to the inside of James Shelly, and he will clear for the position. One thing that we'll be talking about probably in tomorrow's Hershey's Cup Series race that we haven't been able to talk about in this race nor in yesterday's truck race, and that is a driver being able to race his way in via points, because we have had the maximum number of spots in the playoffs. As my goodness, there was some contact there between Ericsson and Yepez, but the maximum number of spots have been filled by former race winners. So now it's basically for these drivers, if you want to get into the playoffs and you haven't been to victory lane yet, you have to win. You cannot rely on a consistent finish to get you into the playoffs if you have not yet found victory lane so far this season. Eli Bright, our winner from the Daytona Road Course, comes in this race 14th in points. Looking like he's going to make it into the playoffs this season, which I believe would be for the first time in his career. As now Nick Guenther, he had trouble getting around James Shelly for the lead, but now he's going to go to the inside of Alexander Rowe, and he will take the position. Now, the pit stops that we had in the truck race yesterday, and I say this because it looks like we're settled into some bit of a long green flag run here, we're somewhere between laps 24 to 28. I think that these drivers can go a little bit further on fuel, but I know they cannot exceed lap 33. That is the furthest they can go on fuel without having to come to pit road. Nick Guenther, who won at Phoenix, was, I believe, only his second start of the season. Trying to be the first two-time winner here as a rookie. Brooke Allen right behind him there in second place, though. Got a number of the Michael Norm Motorsports cars up here towards the front. Allen in second, LaPlante in third, and he's kind of faded back, but I saw the one of Nathan Hudson up here not too long ago. On for the lead, as behind them they're getting really racy. Plant, Ericsson, Wyatt Quail all battling for position. Wyatt Quail comes into this race 38th in points, so there's no chance mathematically even with a win for him to get into the playoffs. J Sandfer there in the 70, the rookie out of Joanna Atwood Motorsports, comes into this race currently 33rd. She's a huge long shot to be able to make it in. She'd have to win, and she would have to finish 31 positions ahead of the 88 of Rob Evans. As we saw LaPlante go way wide through that corner, they're 3 wide here at Hillside. That's not unusual either. This track reminds me so much of a small super speedway in the way that the racing is here, and it's so hard to hold on to positions. Charles Jackson, he was in the playoffs last year for the Pizza X Series Championship. This season, though, he finds himself 17th in the point standings without a win. Got a chance here if he goes to victory lane. He could be a last-ditch driver into the playoffs. And how about Ryan George there in the 4? He had a great run last week at Champs-Élysées. Managed to pick up quite a number of spots in the point standings as well. Picked up 6 spots from 40th to 34th. He could maybe make it into the playoffs if he could finish 36 positions ahead of Rob Evans. So he would basically have to win. Rob Evans would have to finish dead last. Now remember, we told you the 2 drivers that are basically battling right now to keep ahead of each other, provided we have a new winner go to victory lane, which right now we would with Alexander Rowe leading the way, are the cars of Rob Evans and Juan Garcia, a couple of rookies. Evans, our winner from Atlanta, and Garcia, our winner from Richmond, as Allan's going to try and take the spot. Let's see where those two are currently running. Evans running back here in 38th. That's not where he needs to be. And Juan Garcia, where's the 95? There he is. He's in 25th. So right now, Juan Garcia would be safe. Evans would be the driver that, should we get a new winner that's ahead of him in points, would be eliminated. And of course, we've got those ever-important looming pit stops. Phil Parker's back here in the 31. Back in 36th was where he was scored, so I don't know if LaPlante's going to be able to take the points lead over or not, but he'll at least make it close to finish out the regular season. 3 wide for third. J Shelly up the inside line. Shelly started third in this race. He's back up to third, now looking for second on Alexander Rowe, and we're closing in on those pit stops. Who's going to be the first to dive to that inside line off turn 4? Allan had a turn out in front. Now Alexander Rowe's going to take the spot. Shelly now going to battle for second. Here comes Eli Brighton, the 0-2, bringing N Guenther on the bottom along with him. Good racing up here at the front. We've had a number of lead changes in this race, and I don't think we've seen the last of them either, especially when we get into the pit stops. Canario up there in the 42nd position in points. So far, looking for his first top 10 of the season. And we saw in yesterday's race, Colin Lindsay go to victory lane for the first time in his Coors Light Truck Series career. Now, it obviously didn't have any bearing on who made it into the playoffs, but it certainly was a great Cinderella story there for a struggling driver who was 41st in the points going into that race. Canario trying to have that bad luck lightning strike twice here with trying to get his first win of the season. Shelly took the lead for a moment, led a lap, and then Alexander Rowe says, okay, you got the bonus point, I want the lead back. Closing in on lap 33, and these drivers are going to have to pit. And there's the indication. Rowe's going to give up the lead. He's in. Guenther, Bright, and others. So let's bear in mind that at the time of the pit stops, Alexander Rowe was the leader, because in the Truck Series race yesterday, Colin Lindsay was the leader and came out with the race lead. You see the teammates out of Backmarker Motorsports, Shelly and Jackson, staying out an extra lap. Now they're going to come to pit road along with J Sandfer and Austin LaPlante. Someone spun on the apron coming to pit road, but it didn't bring out a caution. We're still green. So our NSCRA split cam will hopefully be able to show us what happened. Wyatt Quail going to stay out an extra lap. And I think he might be the last driver that needs to hit pit road. So we'll see if staying out this one extra lap is going to help him. Oh no, a couple other drivers went with an extra lap. K Batson, who's already basically locked into the playoffs. 9th in the standings, former winner this season. And also Carson Gum in the 99. Oh, Wyatt Quail's teammate Joshua Hyatt also stayed out. There's the 48 of Patrick Curtis. Now Curtis is still scored in 42nd. I think he's off the lead lap, 2 laps down. I think something went wrong with that car, and I think he had to make a green flag pit stop. Let's try and find who the leader would be, as the pit stops are just about cycled through. And it looks like Alexander Rowe's going to take the spot back. N Guenther will be in second, Shelly in third, Brooke Allen in fourth, and Charles Jackson right now in fifth. 4 of the top 5 all looking for their first win of the season, as Wyatt Quail did come out with the lead, and now they're going to go around him. So now Quail will fall back a little bit. N Guenther now to the inside of Alexander Rowe for the race lead as they're closing in on Cole Deaver, who right now is on the tail end of the lead lap. In the 41st position is the 15. So now Wyatt Quail up here in the top 5 after that pit strategy of staying out an even more extra lap than everybody else. Look at Shelly. Rowe had to check up. Shelly's going to go for second, as Gunther's going to make the pass on Cole Deaver and put him a lap down. 8 laps to go. Shelly to the inside for the top position. If any of these drivers win, there's a very good likelihood they're going to make it into the playoffs. Shelly, Rowe, Allen, Wyatt Quail, I don't know if he can or not. It would be really close for the 62. Charles Jackson would definitely be able to get in, though. Nathan Hudson up there. You see him running in the 8th position. If he won, I think he would be in, because Hudson comes into this race in the 29th position in points. Let's look at the running order real quick, see where the 88 of Rob Evans is and the 95 of Juan Garcia, because that's going to play even more of a factor into it as well. Garcia's 31st, Evans 37th. So right now, yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that any of these drivers up here that haven't won, if they go to victory lane, they'd be in, and Evans would probably be out. James Shelly trying to pick up his first win of the season. Backmarker Motorsports up to this point only has one win, courtesy of Elijah Gilbert at the season opener at Daytona. Nick Guenther trying to hold off Brooke Allen for second there. Alexander Rose had probably the strongest car of the day, but he's mired in 4th for the moment. If Guenther wins, he's the number 1 seed heading into the playoffs. If Shelly, Allen, or Rowe win, they're into the playoffs automatically. With where they're positioned in points and where the 88's currently running on track. Slow car ahead, Alex Gray, as now Nick Guenther's going to make a move to the inside for the top position. Can't quite do it, had to lift there. Shelly's going to keep the lead. I don't know why Nick lifted. I think he had the 71 dead to rights, because they probably would have pinned him to the outside line behind Alex Gray. Unless he just got tight, but that really helped James Shelly in the 71, who now has 2.5 laps to make around Hillside. Another car up ahead for him to have to deal with, though. Will he catch him before this race is over? That's Patrick Curtis in the 48. Guenther has cleared Alex Gray, now sets his sights back on the Blame Shelly Insurance Chevy Camaro, but he's only got about 6 more corners to go. Rowe moves into 3rd. White flag this time. 1 more lap to go. Shelly trying to make a last-ditch effort into the playoffs. They're double wide ahead of him with Curtis and Mason Wood. 27 of Mason Wood might slow him up a little bit here. Shelly's going to get to the inside of him, though. That might be all she wrote. Guenther tries to charge through 3. Not going to be close enough. James Shelly's going to win at Hillside. I think he's raced his way into the playoffs here in Season 5. Shelly came into this race 30th in points. Evans was 25th. Shelly had to make up 21 points on Rob Evans. Not counting the bonus points he accumulated for leading a lap and winning the race, he would have had to have Rob Evans finish 23rd or worse. Officially, Evans finished in 36th. James Shelly, I do believe, has displaced Rob Evans out of the playoffs, and Shelly will battle for the championship this year in the Pizza Hut X Series. That's for the first time, if I'm not mistaken, since Season 3. It might be Season 2. I remember he was a 2-time winner in one of the seasons when he drove the number 16 for Roush Fenway Racing. I'm pretty certain that was Season 3. It might have been Season 2. I'll check my facts here as we're going to show you the full finisher results from today's race. And why do you think we decided to come to Hillside for the regular season finale? It's because of finishes like this. You never know who's going to win. Nope, it was Season 2 when James Shelly made the playoffs. 2-time winner in the 16. And Shelly will, for the first time in 3 seasons, once again be battling for the championship. As we mentioned, the only second win of the season for Backmarker Motorsports. So Shelly with the win. He's into the playoffs. Nick Guenther with second. He wanted to be the number 1 seed heading into the playoffs, but for the driver that came into this race with a win and 10th in the standings, Nick Guenther as a rookie will be in his first playoff position. And you look on down through the remainder of the finishing results, let's find out where those other 10 playoff contenders finished this race. Diego Yepez was almost a lock-in coming to this race. He'll finish 8th, so he's definitely battling for the championship. K Batson 17th. She's going to be in the playoffs. Eli Bright 19th. He's locked in. Z Flickinger 21st. He's locked in. LaPlante started on the pole. Faded back there, though. He finishes 25th, but he'll still be battling for the championship. Elijah Gilbert 28th. Boy, think about that team earlier on in this season when they were trying just to struggle to keep themselves in the top 30 in the points, but he's going to make it into the playoffs with a 28th place run here today. You look on down a little bit further there. Quentin Moore, not the run he was looking for after his win last week at Champs-Élysées, but 30th place. He's still going to be in the playoffs, though. Juan Garcia, he was really close to maybe getting eliminated, as he and Rob Evans both ran near the rear of the field for most of this race, but 31st, amazingly enough, still going to be enough for him to make it in. And of course, Phil Parker, finishing 37th, came in with such a huge points lead over second place. There was no doubt any finish he got today, even if he started parked, he was going to be making it into the playoffs. And the final driver, I do believe, is going to make it into the playoffs, is going to be Patrick Curtis, finishing this race, last car in the lead lap, in the 39th position. But he came into this race 20th in points, and in order for Rob Evans to displace him, Evans would have needed to finish, I believe, 13 positions ahead of Patrick Curtis. He obviously didn't do that. He was only 3 positions up on the 48, so I believe Patrick Curtis also is going to make it into the playoffs as well. We had 2 drivers finish a lap down, Mason Wood and Cole Deaver, and Alex Gray. Wonder if maybe he was the driver that had the issue spinning onto pit road, as he finished in the 42nd position. Obviously, I haven't seen it. You guys have, courtesy of the NSCRA split cam, but I digress. Tough break there for Alex Gray in the 0 team, finishing in the 42nd position a season after they were 2-time winners. I believe they were 2-time winners in the Pizza Hut X Series last season. I think they were. Let me see. Alex Gray. Oh, no, they didn't win last year. I think I'm thinking of when Patrick Curtis drove the 0 2 seasons ago. But nonetheless, we've got a chance, slim but a chance, of a 2-time Pizza Hut X Series champion with Elijah Gilbert. But there are a lot of drivers: Shelly, Parker, LaPlante, Yepez, Flickinger, Moore, Batson, Guenther, Bright, Curtis, Curtis, Garcia, that all want to win the championship as well. And we will kick things off in our first playoff race next week at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. How about James Shelly? Last ditch effort to get into the playoffs, makes good on it, and they definitely will not be blaming Shelly here tonight, as he is going to be in the playoffs with 11 other competitors. Hope you guys enjoyed this race. If you did, be sure to give us a like. Subscribe to become part of the crew today. We've shown you full feature results, these are your rookie points and your overall points, and your playoff points heading into the first playoff race at Las Vegas. First race of the first race of 4 rounds in this season's battle for the championship. Tomorrow night, we are going to determine the 16 drivers that will battle for the Hershey's Cup Series championship. And unlike this series and the Truck Series yesterday, there are going to be drivers that are going to be battling for points to get into the playoffs this season. That is going to be a lot of fun, and it's probably going to hurt my brain. But we will see you guys tomorrow night, where we will determine the playoffs for the Hershey's Cup Series drivers, and we'll see you guys next week when the playoffs begin at Las Vegas. Until then, you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best. Good night from Hillside.